WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I don't know shit about fuck.
Look at that. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. The 19th day of November, 2021. 'Tis almost the day of thanks. Thanksgiving is next week, dude. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. My name is KOZ, and up there's Pooky. And we're going to take you through the next couple of hours of just talking about stuff. and things. Didn't have a show last week. I was gone. I was up in Big Sky Country, man. I was up in Montana for the weekend. Hi, Tanya. Let's call you Tanya. So it's my daughter's birthday. Both of my girls have November birthdays, and so I flew up there to. Oh, hey, Sin's back on the YouTubes. What's up, buddy? Anyway, I flew up there to just spend a couple days with them. They're of course they're adults now and they're working and all out of school and stuff. So I spent the weekend with them and I thought it was we had a really good time. And I didn't time wise of the 2 days that I was up there, I spent maybe 4 hours with them. But it's okay. I got to see them. I know that they've got they got stuff going on. So Friday night. I got up there Friday, and it just I stayed at the Residence Inn in Bozeman, Montana. So it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and my check-in time wasn't until like 3. So I grabbed I just had a carry-on bag. I didn't travel with much. Got there, and I guess I looked like shit. So I asked the lady behind the counter, I'm like, do you guys have anything ready right now that I can just, chill out? Can I get a room now instead of waiting a couple of hours? Because if I had to wait a couple hours, I was going to crash in the lobby. And they're like, oh yeah, let me see what we've got. So I had rent, my reservation was for a studio room. I don't know what that is, but that sounds small. And hotels are super duper expensive up there, but they gave me a suite, which was kind of cool. So I got a really, really nice room, and so I chilled out. I watched some TV, met the girls for dinner, and they had it was a burger place, and I really enjoyed it, man. They had some really good burgers. And then the second night we went out and we had ramen. So that was my excitement. But I got to see my girls. I got to catch up, and I appreciate you approving my pass for last week. Yeah, so I'm going up to the Chicago area to see my parents and my brothers and their families and stuff for Christmas. So I'll be gone for quite a while on that one. It's like a 3-week break. I guess Pooky's a little frozen here. He was having network issues, so he's restarting his machine. Anyway, big news today as far as Kyle Rittenhouse. Before I get to that, I do want to get to something that just came across our little news desk here, and it's about it was Operation Grandpa, I think it was what it was called. But in Chemung County, New York, officials are searching for a missing elderly man in Chemung County. Now, I had to look on a map where Chemung County was. So, if you draw a triangle with Rochester and Syracuse being the base, Elmira is in Chemung County, so that would be kind of the tip. It's right on the. I guess that would, it's west of Binghamton. So, hey, there's a telephone call. I think that's going to be Mr. Pooky showing back up again. So yeah, if you draw a line between Rochester and Syracuse and draw just an isosceles triangle, Elmira or that Chemung County would be at the tip of that. Anyway, according to Chemung County Sheriff Bill Schramm, John Kaisa was last seen at his home on November 16th about 10:30 a.m. and was reported missing on Thursday. Kaisa, 78 years old, possibly driving a gray-colored 2014 Honda CR-V with license plate number AEL8426. Alpha Echo Lima 8426. The New York State Missing Persons Clearinghouse has not yet issued an official silver alert for Kaisa. Anyone with information on Kaisa's whereabouts is asked to contact law enforcement. So if anybody's seen John out and about, please give the authorities a phone call. I mean, no one needs to be missing their grandpa. This sucks. We have silver alerts a lot down here, so I think there's a personal connection with this man or the family of this man. So we're putting out the information. So there you go. So yeah, it's been a slow news week, but a busy news day. How do you like that? Are you all good there, Pook? Everything working good now?
No, stupid hiccups, gremlins.
Well, welcome back. Sin says, hell, I'm going to have to look on a map to find Rochester. It's just south of Lake Ontario. Northern New York. Not in the tip, but just below the lake. So today there's midday or so, my phone started blowing up. And it says a verdict has been reached in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial. I'm like, oh crap. During this whole thing, I did not submerge myself in all of the news that was coming out just because it was so. He'd already been tried and convicted. If you've watched when I read any of the media stories, it was like, dude, let this guy have a fair trial first. And the misbehavior. I don't know how you would classify that. The fucked upness of MSNBC.
Oh yeah, that right there. I mean, I was like, man, if I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the legal system works like that, but had I been a judge, I mean, I've done the same thing, kicked them out, and I'm like, your guys are like borderline about to make this a mistrial because you guys are just playing around at this point. You know? Well,
it's not. It's just the legal prowess of the legal prowess of the prosecuting attorney. Oh, I've got a video on that. Let me look at that one. Hold on just a minute. Oops, that's not it. That's not it. Well, son of a bitch. Well, anyway, we're talking about Kyle, so there we go. There was a TikTok out there, just some hey, there was a fire in this building and you left with a quickness, and I'm very much paraphrasing this. Why did you leave with such haste? And Kyle Rittenhouse just said there was a fire. You know, it was just the legal prowess of the prosecuting attorney was just the lead attorney was just
silent? Why did you remain silent while you were being held in custody? You know,
that's my right. I had a couple of opinions as this was going on. I'm just like, it seemed to me that the prosecutor's office was trying to mess this up so bad they got a mistrial just because even they knew that this was a bad deal. It was a raw deal for Kyle Rittenhouse. But I don't know. I don't know. I've got an ex-brother-in-law who is a state's attorney, and I haven't asked him. I said, is there a strategy behind this? Because as everything kept on going and going and going and going, I'm just like, man, is this guy just really bad? Did he get I don't know where he got his degree from, or did he study the bar, the state bar for dummies or something? He just didn't seem like he was doing this for
very long.
It didn't seem like he was doing it for long, and he didn't seem like he was in it to win it.
Well, I mean, you look at it like this. This is the way I was looking at it. I was like, this is kind of scary because think about if there's one guy like that, there's got to be at least 1,000 more that are like that.
Attorney-wise or Kyle's?
I'm talking about just attorney-wise, like a state, prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
They're in it just to get the win at that point. It's scary if you think about it because how many people are actually innocent or sitting behind bars right now because I have to win this case because it's just I don't know.
There's so many things that. How many women are behind bars because in self-defense they killed their husband?
Exactly.
How many people are just absolutely guilty of, intentional homicide and claiming self-defense and then getting off? I mean, this. So anyway, just to catch everybody up, I know everybody is current with this, but I mean, even if you live under a rock, you've still got Wi-Fi. So Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of all charges on Friday after his trial for shooting 3 people, killing 2 of them. In Kenosha last year, Rittenhouse broke down in tears, nearly collapsing as a court clerk announced that the jury had found him not guilty on all charges. He faced 5 counts. That's incorrect. He actually faced 6 counts. One of them was tossed out. I think that was the possession of a firearm by a minor.
Dangerous weapon.
A dangerous weapon.
Yeah, and I read the law and I was like, wow, I wish they would have just measured the barrel of the rifle.
Exactly. And I don't know by how much he made it, but it was the length of the barrel that made it a long gun. Let me see. Included charges of first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree reckless endangerment, first-degree intentional homicide, and attempted first-degree murder. He faced up to life in prison if he had been convicted. And those were just the felonies. He had 2 misdemeanors. One was, I'm not sure about the weapons possession charge, which was thrown out, but there was another one. It was a misdemeanor, and it was like a curfew violation or something like that. Thomas Binger, the lead prosecutor, said, and this is a quote from him, he says, quote, "While we are disappointed with the verdict, it must be respected. We are grateful to the members of the jury for their diligent and thoughtful deliberations. The Kenosha community has endured much over the past 15 months, and yet we remain resilient and strong. We ask that members of our community continue to express their opinions and feelings about this verdict in a civil and peaceful manner." So I thought that was pretty badass. That was a good statement. Not like, fuck that, man, we got screwed. So White House was asked for a statement, and Joe Biden said, and this is a quote, "While the verdict in Kenosha will leave many Americans feeling angry and concerned, myself included, we must acknowledge that the jury has spoken." He then added, "I urge everyone to express their views peacefully, consistent with the rule of law. Violence and destruction of property have no place in our democracy." Biden was also asked whether he stood by his past comments equating Kyle Rittenhouse to white supremacy, referring to a post by Biden on Twitter in 2020 while he was running for president, criticizing his opponent for not condemning white supremacy that included the video that had an image of Rittenhouse. And he responded to that question with, "I stand by what the jury has concluded." So that's over. And I say that with, like, in air quotes.
Yeah,
because I don't.
It's not over yet, no? Because I think there's a civil suit. It's like.
There's got to be. And I forgot to start the show, and I was going to start the show with live from the WTF Nation Riot Watch compound in lovely North Central Texas. My name is Kaz. But as of the last report, Kenosha is very peaceful. There's a couple of protesters, but they're out there supporting Kyle Rittenhouse outside the courthouse. Of course, there's an extremely large police presence. I'm not sure about other cities like Chicago or Baltimore or Seattle or any other cities where I guess it's normal to riot.
It's a fickle thing at this point.
But yeah, I'm not sure Kyle's fight is done.
Oh, if I was him, I'd be dropping defamation lawsuits on a lot of media.
I saw a meme that said, it wasn't a meme, it was a Babylon Bee article that said that Kyle Rittenhouse and what's that smirking kid's name?
Oh, was this Sandman?
Sandman are going to have joint custody of CNN. Because Kyle was tried and condemned. He was, CNN all the media was nothing but, the judge, jury, and executioner for this guy. And Sky Hall says racism won in that courthouse today. The judge stacked the deck in Rittenhouse's favor. I don't know how you can qualify that statement, because of all the proof that was presented. It was clearly to me, it was a case of self-defense. And how was it racism?
One picture of him with the Proud Boys turned him into a white supremacist. Almost that's the way the media framed it. So I mean,
so right before the show, I got off of work, and immediately I started collecting memes because I knew that today was going to be a meme-heavy day. So I'm gonna share those with you. And these are just going to scroll, and Pooky and I are just going to talk. So we're just, I mean, a lot of, I understand why people are upset. But I think that if you examine what self-defense, what does self-defense mean to you? Self-defense means, to me, self-defense means that, you know, if my life is being threatened or if my well-being is being threatened, I have a right to defend myself. Period. Paragraph. That's it. And that's exactly what Kyle did. Everyone's like, no, you shouldn't have shot him or something like that. I'm like, dude, that wasn't the first time that guy, I mean, during this whole Kenosha experience for Mr. Rittenhouse, that's not the first time that he got knocked down. I think he was knocked down twice. Chased and knocked down. And, you know, finally, he decided to defend himself with lethal force.
Oh my God!
Go ahead, man. Go.
How did his mother break the law by driving his son across? Understand it how close these places are. His father, I guess his grandfather, and all them live in Kenosha. Is from what I read.
Okay.
He worked there.
Okay.
So if his mom drove him to work, was she breaking the law driving to work? I mean, where all these people bust in from all over the country on buses? Were they supposed to be there?
One of the guys that he shot, I don't know if it was the guy the guy that he wounded or the one guy that he neutralized or the two guys that he killed. One of those guys had like a 3-hour drive to get to Kenosha.
Yeah. What was he doing there? I mean, it says a lot that, like, out of 3 victims, we're going to call them victims.
Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, is that the hands up, don't shoot guy?
Understand, you're protesting. Understand that. But going around beating people, especially a guy with a gun, makes absolutely no sense to that. But you wouldn't go beat a police officer because you're going to get shot, no? They're allowed to defend themselves.
Like a lot. So I don't know. I agree with the verdict. Was he looking for a fight? And I'm seeing that in the chats. I'm seeing all the chats, and I'm like, you know,
but okay,
he said, and he testified that he was there to protect property. I don't know Kyle. I don't know what he. I just know what he testified to.
I would never put myself in a situation like that if I didn't have to be in it.
No, even before we left work today, they're like, hey, if you're going to Dallas. You know, because we got a lot of engineers that live and work in Dallas. Young folks actually go out at night and stuff. And we were just given the heads up. You probably shouldn't. You shouldn't be out. But you know, as of the last report, man, there's nothing popping off, and I'm glad. I'm absolutely glad, and I'm really glad that Governor Evers decided to bring in the nasty girls. And the city manager over there in Kenosha decided to up the police presence. Because had they done that 15 months ago, this probably wouldn't be happening.
Oh, that was a failure on the state government at that point and the city government at that point because they let that ridiculousness go off. I understand people could be pissed off about a current situation, but the fiery but peaceful protests, that's not the way to do it. Mostly peaceful. Quote CNN.
Mostly peaceful as the CVS burns in the background. Yeah, I don't know. I do understand the frustration, but I also understand what self-defense means. And, Had this happened in any other state, like a non-Second Amendment state, I think that things could have been and would have been probably very, 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 very different.
California,
Massachusetts,
Vermont. Name a couple,
But this was, this is Wisconsin, which is kind of a, I don't know, it's not a red state, it's not a blue state, it's kind of wishy-washy back and forth. But this wasn't just a trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. This is like this was like this is the Second Amendment on trial.
This is what a lot of people didn't realize. Right to the self-defense at that point. Huh?
If things had gone the other way, and let's say he got convicted on one of the charges or whatever, and he started doing prison time, this would have been, case just what would they call that?
A study. It would have been written down. This is going to be written down in a law study for a very long time.
It would have been based on Wisconsin versus Rittenhouse, 2021, blah 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 blah, and you found him guilty. But I think it's going to be the other direction. Kenosha is a heavy blue area. Well, that's Kenosha. Let me see, Kenosha and Madison's kind of middle of the state. Kenosha, Milwaukee. Milwaukee's extremely blue, with an extremely red sheriff, which is really weird.
Let's see here, because he literally, it's like the borderline.
Hold on a second, Chris. You said next time get upset about Trayvon Martin. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. If he was black, you would have been convicted. I don't know. With all of this, with all the evidence being the same, I don't see that.
That's kind of like the borderlines of saying that the coof spray reduces your chances of dying from it, even though you can still get sick from it. That's like a stupid argument at that point.
Don't fucking drag me under the bus.
I'm just
as far as I know, Trayvon Martin was the hands up, don't shoot guy, but he's also the same damn guy that was in the convenience store, either robbing or harassing the damn. He was a little thug. I don't know, man. Yeah. Happy Friday, Elizabeth. Glad you could join us. But I think this was also, like I said earlier, this is our right to self-defense is, and this is everybody, was on trial. At what point do you have the right to defend yourself? And I think that was it. Michael Brown. Okay, thank you very much for clearing that up.
Michael Brown. Which was he? Oh God,
Michael Brown. Yeah.
So I'm getting so confused.
There's so many. There's so many.
If the police would just stop killing people, that might solve a problem too.
Right.
But I'm just saying that. But that's the whole legal system. You're supposed to, go to trial and then be tried by jury. That's the way it's supposed to work. Huh?
That is true. So, in other self-defense news, Vero Beach, Florida, a Gifford man who claimed that he was defending himself and his girlfriend when he fired shots at deputies during an early morning raid in 2017 was acquitted today of charges that would have carried a life sentence prison term. A jury found
no-knock raids. Was it one of those stupid no-knock raids that I've?
Yes, it appears so. The article didn't mention that they had a no-knock warrant. But a jury found Andrew A.J. Coffey IV, age 27, not guilty of second-degree felony murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder of a law enforcement officer by discharging a firearm, and 1 count of shooting or throwing a deadly missile. Ooh.
What?
Yeah. Ooh.
A deadly missile. So he threw a knife at someone. Is probably what or I'm confused.
In a separate proceeding on Friday, the same jury convicted Coffey of 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon. At his sentencing January 13th, he faces a maximum prison term of 30 years. The state will be seeking the maximum 30 years for him, said the assistant DA. The charges related to a March 19th, 2017 firefight between Sheriff's Office, Special Weapons and Tactical Team, and Coffey at his home in Gifford. Coffey testified that he and his girlfriend had been asleep when deputies at the back of the house broke out one of his windows to his bedroom with a pole and then detonated a flashbang device. Moments earlier, SWAT members at the front of his house had quickly taken his father, Andrew Coffey, into custody after a brief struggle just outside the home's front door. The younger Coffey said that he thought he was being robbed when he saw what appeared to be a rifle sticking through the open window. He insisted that he did not know a raid was underway when he fired his .45 out the bedroom window, shooting it 2 or 3 times. The deputies in turn returned fire, firing over a dozen rounds toward the bedroom window. After the gunfire, investigators searched the house. Woods was discovered deceased, which is his girlfriend, was discovered deceased on a bed in Coffey's bedroom. In the elder Coffey's bedroom, deputies found marijuana, crack cocaine, along with 10 hydromorphone pills and 1 oxycodone pill, both painkillers. Grand jury in 2017 cleared the SWAT team members of any criminal charges. And, of course, the internal investigation cleared them of any violations of policies or procedures. Obviously, and this is a quote from the lawyer, obviously we believe that the state's case was righteous. We proved our case beyond a reasonable doubt, but the jury did not see it that way for the first part of the trial, he said. But we are glad to see that justice was done and he was found guilty of the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. So it was I think it was a drug raid. It was a drug raid, which made it, they got the no knock. I don't agree with the no knocks.
I don't agree with the government just snapping into people's houses and taking shit. I think that's piracy in my this is me. But whatever.
So Coffey, the junior Coffey, has a criminal record including 4 felony convictions, which allows the state to seek an enhanced punishment for the gun conviction. So I don't think he has solid ground to stand on with that charge at all. Later, Corey. Thanks for joining. So I had his rap sheet, but I don't have it anymore. So yeah, I mean, he was defending himself, so therefore he went to court. A black man went to court, and he won.
Against the state.
Against the state, yeah. No kidding. He fired on police officers and won.
Yes. That's why I think no-knock raids should be just abolished. This should be a thing. I mean, it's too easy for them to surround a house and knock on a door and say, we're the police, come out peacefully, or we're breaking in. Just to announce yourself. It makes too much sense.
Okay, Gordon A. Ridge says, will Fort McCoy still have cheese curds? Asking for a friend. When I was up in Montana, I ate at a place called the Backcountry Burger Bar, and I don't care what you get there. They have probably a dozen, maybe more than a dozen burgers that you can get. I got the jalapeno. It's the one that's got jalapeno jelly, and it's all kind of bougie. It's a bougie town, so there's like all kinds of like foo burgers and stuff. But I got the one that was a jalapeno. It had jalapeno jelly on it. It was delicious. But I needed a side. I didn't want fries, so I saw that cheese curds were on the menu. I haven't had cheese curds in a long damn time, and these were damn good cheese curds, man.
I buy them all the time at the local grocery store. They always have like a bag of them.
Do you eat them? Do you eat them cold?
Sometimes I like to stick them in the microwave for about like 5-10 seconds, kind of get them like that nice squeakiness to them.
Yeah, the squeaky cheese.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
So yeah, I get to enjoy some real Wisconsin cheese curds in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be awesome. So what do you think about the judge in Rittenhouse's case? He seemed to me that he was a very pro Second Amendment judge.
Okay,
but judge, he was a very matter of fact. He didn't allow shenanigans in the courtroom.
No, I mean he was what a judge is supposed to be. he reads the Constitution, reads the law. There's no politics in it. This is what the law says, and this is what will happen. And that's the way all judges should be, which in case sometimes it's not. Some judges are very biased. You can see that in the Supreme Court.
Well, your judges will interpret the law. The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, even a judge has to look at constitutional law too, in the same sense.
Correct.
But where I'm getting at is there's no room for bias at that point, huh? And people will be like, "Oh, well, that person, that judge is really conservative, or that judge is really progressive, or whatever it is." And it shouldn't be like that. It should be what's on the papers, what's in the books. I'm following this, not what media and everything else is saying at that point. Huh?
Yeah, I wasn't there. I'll bet, man. I bet there was a lot of pressure. I mean, and now you've got jurors who were probably. I mean, they were sequestered. Is that correct?
Oh, did you hear the ending statements of the judge to the juror?
What I read is thank you is basically a thank you for your service. I appreciate your candor and your professionalism. You were told not to talk to the media. He goes, I can't tell you to do that now. If it's your choice, you can do whatever you want to do with whatever.
But he forbade the media from reaching out and contacting them.
How can he do that? Well, if any of the jurors get harassed, I think.
Yes, he said we will go, and he made it so it was heard. Like, if you pretty much, hey media, if you start harassing these people, they weren't allowed to actually talk to them. There was paperwork presented to the jury saying from the media sources, if you want to reach out to us, you're allowed to contact us. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was a juror on this case, I'd like, oh, no, you're not seeing me at this point.
So Chris Capp says that judge should have recused himself from the get-go. How come? What?
Is it the ringtone? Was it the ringtone?
What was it? It was a song. I don't. It was like his.
It was a patriotic ringtone of some sort, and the media flipped out about it because out of all the people in the world who hate Americans, the most is Americans, which I can't ever wrap my brain around it. So it was just fun. It was a stupid media thing. That's all I got. That's all I got on that.
And like I said at the beginning of this, I did not submerge myself into everything. Kyle Rittenhouse. All I know is we were probably on the air when this shit was going down in Kenosha, that all the BLM riots and all that other garbage. So we report on the event, and there was a bunch of digging into to Kyle Rittenhouse's past. I don't know what that past is. I don't know. There's a lot of let me see where is it?
The media was claiming white supremacy, and he was
white supremacy. He posted or something. Where was it? I lost that. This chat is flowing here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Denied entering into evidence. Rittenhouse posting on social media, in particular, quote, "I want to go to a BLM riot and shoot people."
Did he say that?
I've never heard that. I've never even heard that mentioned
through the prosecution case at that point. Huh?
I mean, I've been paying attention enough, but when you see that, I want to go to a BLM riot and shoot people. It's never followed up with receipts. Someone just says something, and then people pick it up, and it catches fire.
This is a true case of like media disinformation. Like, no, I've seen so many like posts floating around with receipts of like these fact checking organizations trying to save ass and fix things real quick because they had put, this is mostly false information, out, and now they're trying to save ass. And like even Facebook, I think I don't know if you saw that article where Facebook had banned anything with the hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse on it.
I did not know that.
Yes. So I mean, it was like all kinds of media. Like it's so dystopian. It's like a clown world. I wake up every day and I read stuff like this, and I can't believe half the shit I see on the news coming from our media anymore. At that point.
I think that any reasonable person can watch, and the video difference, like the prosecution had a video, and the defense was given a rendered down copy of that video. It was the same video, but the video quality for the defense wasn't as good as the prosecution, or something like that. Is that accurate?
From what I read, they had a higher definition, like the state had a higher definition video, and they gave them like a lower definition of it.
480.
So it's like I don't understand, but I mean it's not really withholding evidence, but it's kind of like, you know, I'm gonna give you this redacted piece of paper, you know, and I've got the whole thing, you know, like it's
I mean, the FBI said, or they had, you know, drones in the air.
That's okay.
So why did they have drones in the air? Did they have drones in the air during that January 6th thing that went down?
Dude, out of this whole thing, no one seems. I love it. Like the Pentagon comes out and says, "Yeah, UFOs are a thing, man. They're a thing." No one beats an eye to it because everyone's worried about the coronavirus. This Rittenhouse thing. The FBI openly said that they're flying drones over top of us and monitoring us, and no one batted an eye about it. They were worried about the kids shooting people. You know, I mean.
So Chris Lowry says the prosecution downgraded the resolution and cropped the drone video and then lied about it. There were so many opportunities during this entire trial for the judge to say mistrial with prejudice, which means we're throwing this out of court and you can't try him again. But he let it ride. He let it ride, and he left it in the hands of the jurors.
I mean, didn't even the defense like try to do like, hey, we could do a mistrial without prejudice here, which means he could be tried again, because it seems to me like you don't have a case. Get your shit together, you know. And they got denied for that shit. Huh?
Mm-hmm. And I think the prosecution or the defense petitioned the court for a mistrial twice, 3 times. I don't know. You got fucked up fingers, man. I couldn't count them.
Yeah. This is my strong hand.
This is your strong hand.
Yeah, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. Abraham Lincoln.
He said that. That's an actual quote. I studied that in school.
Yes, totally. Oh, we're going to get flagged for misinformation. Oh no. Oh damn! I had a good thought, and it just kind of escaped me. But I think this was the preferred. This was the optimum outcome for Kyle Rittenhouse, is to be found not guilty, to be completely acquitted of all the charges. I thought he was going to at least catch a weapons charges, but then they pulled out the ruler, and I was like, okay, let me read the law, and I was like, that's not a dangerous weapon. Not a dangerous weapon.
I thought that of anything he was going to be, and I said this earlier, and it was during one of ICE's shows. I said, looking at what I know now, I think the only thing that he's guilty of is possession of a firearm by a minor, and it's the curfew charge. The
curfew charge. Me and you both agreed on. I think it was like maybe about a month ago we were doing a show. We both agreed on that.
And the maximum fine. I think the maximum fine was $200. $250.
So time served for the misdemeanor because he spent time.
He's been incarcerated for 15 months.
That's insanity. I thought he posted bail at that point.
I really don't know. From what I know,
if that's the case, the state's gonna be paying some money. I thought he had posted bond and was out, but
I don't know. If anybody knows, put it in the chat and I'll see it. Man, all of this crap. I mean, it's pretty. For me, it was a pretty cut and dry situation of self-defense. And there's a bunch of minutia. There's a bunch of garbage in the middle of that. There's a bunch of information in the middle of that between he shot 3 people to going to court for shooting 3 people, killing 2 of them. And there's so much information in between that. So I try to pick out the important stuff. And looking at some of the video, I mean, dude, you're attacked. I don't care if it's a skateboard or a fist or,
Dude,
or
give
someone.
me a skate. I'm gonna say this. Give me a skateboard, and I can do some damage to you.
There was a picture. I saw a picture of a guy that was hit in the head with a skateboard, and his skull was caved in.
Mm-hmm. No, I was a little deviant as a child. I used to skateboard, so yeah, I know what the damage a skateboard can do to another human being. I'm just gonna say that.
Thank you. Andrew Lee says yes. He posted his bail. Okay, so he was out on bail. Under conditions, I'm sure he couldn't travel the universe and stuff. So,
Unlike like some certain celebrities and crap like that, and politicians, but didn't put it out there.
I mean, substitute the word skateboard for 2x4 or a blunt object. You can, I mean, you can.
The trucks on a skateboard are made with cast aluminum most of the time, or if you get a really cheap board, they're made with actual like cast iron, really old school. But yeah, those trucks where the wheels attached to, they could do some damage to someone at that point. Huh? It's like a mace. A flat mace, but still a mace.
So I'm seeing some pictures of outside the Kenosha courthouse, and there's, I can count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. And it just says unity, not fracture. There's a sign that says unity, not fracture, and a guy holding a sign sideways just because he looks like he's bored or tired that says free Kyle. And an American flag and an orange construction cone with some writing on it that I can't read.
Yes, Justin, I saw that post, and yeah, I'll agree with you on that. And,
What's
I
that?
mean,
8 shot, 5 hit?
8 shot, 5 hit flesh, like that's good. That's a clean shoot in my eyes, because I mean, if you really want to look, if Kyle was there and he really wanted to be malicious, he could have dumped that whole mag into that crowd.
He did, and the thing is, that wasn't the first time he was attacked. He was attacked a couple of times. I want to say 2 times, and he shot on the 3rd time that he was, knocked down. And he had his weapon in his hand. He could have laid everybody out, and he didn't. He showed an extreme amount of restraint.
I mean, he wasn't out there purposely trying to kill people.
I don't think he was.
I mean, it's just a bad.
I'm an objective guy, man. I'm looking at all this, and I'm just going, no, man.
But I mean, okay, I can hear the other side. I mean, I keep hearing white supremacy and la da 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 da. I was like, okay, like you're getting this from your Twitterverse is what I like to call it. The Twitterverse is a massive echo chamber where one blue check mark says something and all the NPCs repeat it. And
Reddit is just as bad. It's such a cesspool.
Facebook is bad now. I think the only thing that's not that bad is TikTok. But then again, TikTok pushes you into your little weird algorithm groups, and you're only seeing what they think you want to see. So I mean, I don't know at that point.
Facebook is the same way. Facebook is the exact same way. I'll go and look up Christmas gifts for my kids, and all of a sudden I'm getting Facebook, hey, you want to buy this? No, I don't.
It's just a sign, okay, my generation and the younger generation, I don't know what they call them, Gen Xers or whatever, Gen Z is what they call them.
I don't know where I am. I'm kind of I'm on the cusp of 2 generations. So
you're probably in between I would say the late boomer and early Gen Xers kind of.
I think I'm a late Gen Xer, early boomer.
But I mean, they stopped teaching critical thinking in schools, how to see biases and logical fallacies and stuff like that. And you can see it in my generation, and it's just crazy. People will present an argument with a completely different argument. I think Jimmy Kimmel said something about this whole thing, and I was like, that argument doesn't even equate to that. That's ad hominem, you're attacking him because he said something. I mean, it makes I'm getting heated on this.
So Christopher Musil says D-Generation X. I don't care. I've never identified with a. I'm me. I'm KOZ. I do my thing.
Attitude error.
Oh my gosh, Sin! What a great comment. Sin on YouTube says you're easier to control when you don't think for yourself.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That is absolutely correct.
I can see it a lot because like I'll see comments and then I'll go look at the icon, and like as soon as I look at it, it's like I see the comment and my brain can already almost automatically formulate what this person's going to look like.
Oh, do you do that too?
No, I don't. Like I look at the comment, I'm like, boom, my brain automatically does it. It's like very prejudiced, but 99.9% of the time I click on the icon to get a big picture of it. I'm like, yeah, well, there you go. You know.
Do you ever read a comment and then just go back and go, what do they look like? It's like, man, this guy. It's like when you're driving, you're like, man, this guy's driving like an asshole, or I wish they'd speed up. So you get into the other lane and you pass him and you kind of look over, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Or not, or maybe it's like an old person, or you kind of draw a conclusion in your mind, and then you find out for sure, and you're like, oh, well, okay. Or you see like a dumbass comment, and so you click on their profile, and then you're like, oh, okay. Or like, wow, no, I was completely wrong.
Well, no, it happens sometimes, but I'm just saying, like I'll give it about 90% of the time. I'll see like, oh, this is pure Karen comment, and I click on it, and like, boom, like the epitome of Karen. And I'm like, yeah, there we go.
So I've got two comments that I want to mention here. Maurice Glasgow says, a great duty for Americans. It's your God-given ability and your duty to defend you and your neighbor, or your neighbor, he says. William Wheeler says the jury did their job. They weighed the evidence and found him not guilty. Justice is blind in the media shitstorm. God bless the USA, and may Kyle live a peaceful life. Gosh, I hope he does. Oh my God. I mean, I know there's going to be. It seems like now that he's been acquitted of these charges, the chance of a successful civil suit has greatly been diminished.
Well, I mean, OJ was found innocent of murder, but then he got hit with the civil suit. So, I mean, just saying.
Yeah. Man, that was such a long time ago.
And we all know OJ did it. We all know that. I mean, just saying. Epstein definitely did not kill himself.
He did not.
But
he did not. But when all this thing with Rittenhouse is in the media, I mean, you get that other trial that happened down in Florida that I didn't hear of until tonight. With a black man who was acquitted of that charge. He's still going to face a charge of. Still going to face a charge of a felon in possession of a firearm. Now, why aren't these other guys getting charged with a felon in possession of a firearm?
The state. I'd like to see this.
The state probably said something. Hey, we won't prosecute you if you testify.
No, they granted them immunity. That's the only way I can see it. No. Because that's like one of the things. It's like, oh, you go up on stage, and then he like literally admits that he was, like the faces of the prosecution. They were both like face palm.
Oh yeah. It's like, yeah, I didn't. I pointed a gun at him, and then he shot me. Well, okay, thank you. Damn it.
What usually happens when you brandish a firearm towards another human being at that point, huh?
We spent the entire first hour on this. I didn't mean on doing that. I meant to do about 30 minutes.
Keep it
about a 30-minute discussion. Hit it and just move on. But now we're up to the first break, and I really would like to not talk about this in the second hour because I've got some really good stories.
Wash my hands of
little bit of Lunar Eclipse. We got some awesome Command Sergeants Major that did some really good stuff. U.S. Army veteran stranded in Pakistan, trying to get his family out of Afghanistan. Iranian hackers. What else do we have here? We got some good stories, and we'll try to get to them all. If we don't, that's fine. But we're going to take a short break. Please hang out. Please hang out. This is going to be a good rest of the show. So the first hour was Kyle Rittenhouse, and the second half is not going to be Kyle Rittenhouse. So please hang out with us, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
WTF. Nation Radio. TF Nation Radio. TF Nation Radio.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
All right, everybody, we're back for the second hour of Friday Night Freedom. My name is KOZ, and up there is Pooky. Happy Friday, everybody. Today's the 19th day of November, 2021. And, oh my gosh. You going to have a big spread out for everybody on Thanksgiving, man? No? Just enough for you?
Just a couple of families getting together, doing a small little get together kind of thing, and just
that's kind of cool. Everything's kind of low key. I think everybody, at least across the United States of America, is kind of itching to get out and do things. Did you get out and see the lunar eclipse last night?
I saw the very beginning of it around 1 when it first started, 1 in the morning on my East Coast, 1 in the morning. About 2:30, I started watching, it, turn black a little bit, but I didn't get to see I guess what they call it. It wasn't a complete lunar eclipse.
It was like a 90-something%. It was there was this little sliver outside.
Yeah. And it made it red almost, and I didn't see that part.
That's cool. I've got one of my colleagues at work he's into not drugs. He says it's cheaper than a drug. He says it's cheaper than a drug habit, but he spent a lot of money on a telescope. And we all live in the Fort Worth area, so he set it up. He's got a pad in the backyard, and he just sets his telescope up there, and it's it's computerized, and it's like a 12-inch mirror, and he can see good stuff. He got his son interested in it, who's in the Coast Guard, and he's got a 16-inch.
I've always wanted to have me a nice one. A friend of the family a while back had a real big one. He spent money on it, and you could it had GPS, it could tell the time of day, where things were at, so you could just actually type in there, I want to look at Saturn, and go and digging onto it, and you can see the rings of Saturn and shit. It was just crazy.
His son sent him some pictures. He had some pictures of Jupiter, and he can see. Okay, my colleague at work can take a picture of Jupiter, but it looks like a blob. This guy takes pictures of Jupiter, and you can see all the lines in the planet, and you can see the red spot, and it's just amazing. And his pictures of Saturn are so crisp. And and he'll take 20 hours of pictures, 20 hours worth of pictures. I think it's one picture every 5 seconds or 7 seconds. And then his computer takes several days to render all of that into a single picture. And it's amazing clarity. But you don't need that with the moon. My colleague sent me he showed me some pictures of he took it from his phone, and it was amazing.
I got too much light pollution in my neighborhood because I can't do things like that. Because I normally when I was living in the country, I used to be able to take. I got a S10, a high exposure, so I'd set it on a tripod, set it in, and it would take a 45-second to a minute exposure picture. Of them, and depending on how I have to tweak it a little bit. Sometimes it start to morph a little bit because of the natural movement. But once you get it set in right, you get the best pictures of the moon. And out here, just too much light pollution for me to do shit like that.
I get that. And the thing is, when you leave that aperture open for a long amount of time, it collects all the light, and it'll wash out. It'll wash out what you look and what you see with your naked eye is one thing, but when you have a camera with an aperture open for a long time, it collects all that light, and it just washes everything out. So, yeah, that happened last night, and I guess we're not going to get an eclipse like that for another 500 or so-ish years.
500 some. Last time it happened was 1400-ish.
Yeah, so the longest partial lunar eclipse in nearly 600 years it graced the night sky last night. And into early morning today. According to NASA, the eclipse will last 3 hours and 28 minutes, the longest partial eclipse of the century and the longest in 580 years. For East Coast observers, the partial eclipse began just after 2 a.m. Friday, and it reached its maximum at 4 a.m.
I was out cold by then.
For observers on the West Coast, it began just after 11, and it reached its maximum at 1. So my colleague said that he set it. He set his alarm to wake up at every hour from the beginning all the way to the end. He was a worthless piece of shit today because he was all tired and his mind wasn't in work today.
Like when we had that eclipse there that came through the East Coast, the solar eclipse. Mm. Like those stupid glasses, you couldn't find them anywhere because they were all sold out and people were trying to sell them for like $90. I was like, screw this. If I'm going to pay that much, I'll just get me a set of welding goggles.
There you go. Yeah. You can see everything.
Yep. Boop. And that was pretty cool to watch. I even did the old school trick where you take a piece of like aluminum foil and take a pin and poke it through there and then white paper.
So you take a refraction photo.
Yeah. And yeah, pretty cool little things going on there. But
both of my kids were in college at that time, and they were all there. There's pictures of them laying down on the ground in the middle of the solar eclipse with, just with goggles on.
I didn't get complete what they call it, totalitarianism or whatever it is, like where it's completely dark.
Yeah.
Like I know a couple people like out that further west were talking about like it got dark, like dark. And I was like, well, I didn't get like that in Virginia where I was living at the time. I had to use welding goggles to look up to watch it. It's pretty cool though. But
hey, Christopher says I probably won't be around by then. I think he was speaking in reference to the next lunar eclipse like this.
A lot of these big tech guys are saying that the person who will live forever has been born already. So
why not you? Why not us? So let's talk about sergeant majors. Sergeant majors usually, get the fuck off my grass. Get off my grass.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
And they stress over everything, and they develop things and ideas, and they probably talk amongst themselves. And they come up with, hey, how can we fuck with the troops more? Well, I've got a story of a couple of sergeant majors who didn't do that. 2 retired command sergeant majors who served in the U.S. Army took it upon themselves to get a fellow veteran's roof replaced in Middle Tennessee. Gerald Bright, a disabled Army veteran who served in Vietnam, purchased his very first home with his wife Sarah last year in Greenbrier, located just outside of Nashville. The couple later found that their roof had sustained dangerous structural damage. But with his chronic health issues, he couldn't replace it himself, and he couldn't afford to hire someone to fix it. That's when Command Sergeant Major Toby Kammer and Lyle Whited, who served in the 101st Airborne at Fort Campbell together, stepped in. They reached out to the general manager of E2 Roofing in Nashville and had a brand new roof installed for the Bright family. It took a few months to put all the pieces together, but we were thrilled to be able to do this for Gerald and Sarah, said Command Sergeant Major Kramer. They are wonderful people, and it's been our honor to help them. Kramer and Whited also helped Gerald Bright get access to his VA benefits, which he had been struggling with for years. E2 Roofing, Owens Corning, and the Employee Charitable Fund of American Pacific Mortgage all helped contribute to the cause. So thank you, Sergeants Majors.
Sergeant Majors?
Sergeants Major. No. Yeah, Sergeants. Plural.
Sergeant
Major.
Plural.
Sergeant
Plural.
Majors.
That.
Thanks, dudes.
Awesome job. I've never, what, my entire military career, not once did I have one of those crazy, like everyone talks, I guess it's just a stereotype with command sergeant. Every command sergeant major I knew was the coolest mofo on the planet. That's all I gotta say. Like, he was the coolest.
Okay, in uniform or out? I mean, were you one of their Joes or just like a...
In uniform. Like,
okay.
I worked quarters a lot, S6 and shit like that, but there's only, I take it back. There was one that was like a complete asshole, just for no reason. But other than that, every other one that I've had, great guys, awesome. They looked after their troops, man. That's what they did.
When I was in the Army, I didn't really have a lot of life experience. The beginning of my adulthood was spent in the military. So I went from I just living in the house with my parents, which is an authoritarian type of you do what I say because I'm your father or I'm your mother or whatever. And then I go into the Army, and that's all you do what I say because I'm an E5 or I'm your sergeant major or I'm your first sergeant or whatever. So you just do what you're told. I don't think that I could be in the military right now, just having the life experience that I have. The people, adults are just going to adult, and you've got something to do. You've got a mission to do. It doesn't matter what job you're in. I don't care if you work at, I was going to say Blockbuster Video. That doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you work for Lockheed Martin. It doesn't matter if you work for any other company, Kroger. It doesn't matter, because you're going to have people that are in charge of you, and then people that you are in charge of, or that you have influence over. Everybody just likes to be talked to like an adult. I mean, tell me. I mean, for me and my job, tell me what you want. What is the mission? What is the goal? What's the timeline? And I'm going to get it done. Me and my guys are going to get it done.
Suspenses. I'm all about that. Give me a suspense date.
Yep.
That's all I need. Tell me how to do it. You don't need to tell me how to do it. Just tell me how to get it done. Give me a suspense date. It'll be done by that. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. So now as an adult, it doesn't matter if I'm talking to the CEO of my company or our director, our executive branch or whatever. We had one guy that tried to get into our lab, and I work in a secure lab, and I had no idea who he was. So I wouldn't let him in. I'm like, I don't. He talked like he knew everything that we were doing, and he does, because he's kind of like the boss's boss. But I didn't know him, and he's like, hey, because we were walking back from the break room, and he's like, hey, how's it going in the lab? I'm like, good. Not giving any information, and he's like wanting to tailgate me through the door, and I turned around. I'm like, sir, I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't know you.
No.
And then he told me his name, and then I looked at his badge, and I'm like, holy fuck, come on in, please sign the guest register.
Yeah, at that point, yeah, but no.
But I didn't know him. But so I'm not. It's not like everybody walks around with. Our executives walk around with special badges and stuff. But, everyone doesn't walk around with rank on their collar.
Yeah. See, my big thing was I used to hate the BDUs, especially early in the morning, because I'm partially colorblind. I'm not completely colorblind, just partially. But the major rank would blend in with the uniform early in the morning, so I couldn't see it. And I was always getting cussed out by majors.
So
because,
are you an E4 or a major?
You didn't salute me. Why did you salute me? And I turn around and I salute him, be like, I'm sorry, and explain it to him. Most of them were cool about it, but like, oh, okay, sorry, okay. I mean, I was like, I'm just rectifying that. But every now and then you find that one dickhead.
You need to respect me, bro.
Respect my authority. Okay, well, I get you, sir, but I didn't see your rank. I can't see your rank.
I've watched too many episodes of South Park after I've gotten out. And just, it's just, and just lived life, and just people just want to be respected. It doesn't matter if you're in charge of shit or you're not in charge of shit. Treat each other as a human being. And this is what those sergeants major did. So what kind of respect is not happening, is
please talk about the whole pointless 101st division. This is Friday Night Freedom.
Yes, it is.
Drop that information down, so maybe Sergeant Tom can talk about that next week.
What's that?
Said some training exercise in 101st. He's saying there's after the check fire. I don't know the information about it. So if you want to send that to like the main page.
Oh, you're looking at Justin's comment. Can
Yeah.
you please talk about the whole pointless ass 101st Division training exercise, especially after this huge check fire today? Y'all need to find out about that. Yeah, send that to the main page.
Yeah.
U.S. Army WTF moments, and they'll get back with you. They're good at responding.
Oh yeah, Jose's pretty good at things like that. You know?
I haven't seen Jose in a long time.
Been a while.
But then again, Flash has been. I mean, Jose's been on not even sabbatical. He's just doing stuff. So here I've got a kind of a disturbing story, which kind of it kind of sinks my heart a little bit. Let's see, number 5. This doesn't show him, but the story reads: a former U.S. soldier in Pakistan said the U.S. Embassy repeatedly hung up on him as he pleaded for help and wouldn't let him enter the building or speak to a government official at the embassy. Former staff sergeant, an Afghan native, said he traveled from the U.S. to Pakistan to try to help his family escape the Taliban to flee Afghanistan. There's a lot of stands in there. He went to the embassy to request diplomatic aid for his family and for American citizens, green card holders, and Afghans with special immigrant visas, but he was stuck at the border. He says, quote, I showed up at the U.S. Embassy and I literally begged for them to let me in. He goes by the call sign Legend. He says, it was that embarrassing. The U.S. citizen is not a U.S. citizen is not permitted entry in U.S. soil. He said no one picked up the phone when he tried to call the phone number. When someone answered a second number that he was given, he told them that he was a U.S. soldier and that he needed help. He said that he wasn't comfortable discussing the details on the phone given the sensitivity, and he needed to talk to somebody. They hung up the phone. I called and called again, and I got the same result. I could not believe it. I was in shock. He says, quote, I gave up. They kept hanging up. They kept hanging up on me no matter what I said. They kept on hanging up. Then he said, and he started to tear up. It felt like someone was stabbing me in the back. Everyone seeking to get across the border into Pakistan are all begging the United States Embassy to step in. So I understand the confusion. He also criticized the U.S. State Department for bragging about how they're helping Afghan allies. He says, quote, you're not. You're lying. You're not even permitting U.S. citizens to enter. All U.S. citizens seeking to leave Afghanistan with proper documentation, quote, have been offered an opportunity to do so. And that was a quote from Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The former soldier says he has helped at least 30 at-risk Afghans to cross illegally into Pakistan. But it wasn't feasible for his family of 6 to travel from Kabul to the border, since they have to pass around 30 fucking Taliban checkpoints. Yeah, dude, you get busted with any of that shit, you're gonna not be alive. So the good news is that the veteran finally was able to help his family escape through other means. They tried to leave through the Kabul airport during the U.S. airlift, but were unsuccessful. The veteran blamed the Biden administration for the failure to evacuate Taliban targets, including his family. So his family is obviously a Taliban target. His daughter is actually a journalist, an anti-Taliban journalist in Afghanistan. So they're in a rough place. He says, quote, they caused this big mess, and now they're hiding behind their walls, and they will not even agree to open the gates for a U.S. citizen. He said that the only remaining recourse is to go to the media to plead for help, and that's how we got out of the country. I'm not going to name the news agency that got him out. He says, I have done everything else in my power, and I need help. If there's anyone out there that can help me, help my family, help other individuals, U.S. citizens, green card holders, Afghan allies, please help us. And I'm going to give you an email address. If anybody knows anybody who is stuck over there, those who believe that they can help can send an email to legend@awarenessties.us. It's spelt exactly like it's said. Legend@awarenessties.us.
So, I heard that story, right? And I'm listening to it. And this man has called the U.S. Embassy, the State Department, I guess, or whatever. My brain was going back to an old story I heard a long time ago in like the 80s, where I guess there was a soldier called in an artillery strike over a payphone because their radios were fucked up. I think it was Grenada.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That was what the fuck movie? Like what movie was that? What movie was that? Heartbreak Ridge. Heartbreak Ridge.
October 1983. Yeah. I'm looking at this on We Are the Mighty. They're talking about it because I thought about it. I was like, holy crap, I remember hearing this story. But just imagine actual U.S. troops and needing, like, their comms are so jacked up, they're like trying to get a hold of the State Department, or like on wait. Oh, he called this person. Yeah, that's incompetency at that point. Complete incompetency. That's all I gotta say.
So he says that was the 82nd in Grenada. I think what you're talking about is the story that comes to mind was the movie Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood, and
I don't remember. No, I mean, I think it really did happen though. Like, I'm like, there's an article here on We Are the Mighty. I don't have time to read it or anything, like, because I had to look it up because I remember my teacher in school telling the story about it. Like, they were like pinned down and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. Of course, I'm getting word of mouth for him.
Oh my gosh. Sin, you're absolutely right. There's only one legend, and he's buried in Texas. That dude needs to drop that call sign. That's good. That's good. I didn't even think about that. Damn it. So hackers with the American election in 2020.
I read something about this, but I didn't really get into it.
Here's my next story. Members of an Iranian hacking group accessed confidential U.S. voting information and infiltrated a media outlet's computer system in an attempt to intimidate Democratic voters in the lead up to the 2020 presidential election. I don't understand this story because I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Two suspects were identified by a grand jury in Manhattan federal court. They downloaded confidential voter data from 100,000 voters in an unnamed state in September and October of 2020. They then used the data to attempt to intimidate voters by sending out threatening emails while posing as members of the far-right group, the Proud Boys. The messages read, quote, "You are currently registered as a Democrat, and we know this because we have gained access into the entire voting system. You will vote for Trump on election day or we will come after you. Change your party affiliation to Republican and let us know that you received the message to comply, and you will comply." Dude, if I ever received a message like that, I'd be like, fucking just kiss my butt. Also, in October 2020, the hackers sent emails and social media messages to members of the Trump campaign. Republican lawmakers and members of the media claimed that Democrats were planning to alter mail-in ballots and register non-existent voters. The messages included a video that purported to show a member of the Proud Boys hacking into voter websites, and the hackers also gained access into the unidentified media's computer network. The hackers' attempt to use the media outlet's network was thwarted by the FBI and the company itself. The two charged suspects, Syed Mohammed, oh my gosh, is that his fucking name? Syed Mohammed Hossein Musam Kazemi and Sajid Kashan worked for a cybersecurity company called Eminent Pasagad, and they also had tight ties to the Iranian government. Why? If you're in Iran,
no sense.
why if you're in Iran would you want President Trump or
Exactly.
Donald Trump to be president?
Because he was so hard on Iran. I'm gonna take things that the FBI had made up for 200. I really think this is what it is. This makes no sense. If the FBI is coming out and saying this crap, I mean, they couldn't even figure out the motive for what was his name, Paddock, that shot up the Vegas place.
Right.
So I don't believe anything the FBI says right now. They're on their own strings. They're
God,
being
the
controlled.
FBI's got some really, really, really bad actors inside their organization.
By the way, I'd like to say congratulate my FBI watcher guy that watches me on the internet. He just had a child, so congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, boy, girl.
Yeah, it was a boy.
It was a boy. Congratulations on your son. Yeah, I don't understand how that doesn't make any sense in
This
any.
is one of them stories that makes absolutely no sense. And then when there's an actual terrorist attack, with the Orlando shooting back in the Pulse Club shooting back.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, the FBI had investigated that guy like 5 or 6 times, and they're like, he wound up shooting up the club. Guy's got a bad track record right now. Don't want to talk about Waco either. Don't even give me with that. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Do you go to church?
Occasionally.
Maybe
Occasionally.
Take mom, hang out at church for a Sunday or whatever.
Someone invites me to go along to their church, I normally will be like, okay, I'll go along. It doesn't usually turn into a permanent thing, but if I get invited, I'll go.
Have you ever seen a deer in church?
No.
Like a deer? This is the beginning of hunting season. I mean, rifle season. It just opened up. I've got a couple of guys, some of the guys that I work with, they're brothers. And they're like, "Hey, it's my grandson's birthday. Are you coming?" And it's like, "No, I'm not coming because it's deer season. I'm going hunting." How are you going hunting? So, there's a lot of pressure from the family, and he's like, "Fuck that. You're not going to do that to me. I'm going hunting." So, of course, this is nationwide. So a 10-point buck sought sanctuary inside a southern Michigan church on opening day of the state's firearm deer hunting season. So check this little video out.
Oh my word! Oh my word! What is happening? That is a buck.
It's a good-sized deer.
Don't go up there. Don't go up there.
Trying to parkour up the wall?
He went through the window in the auditorium.
I can't see it. I'm hoping the audio's playing. Is the audio playing?
Not hearing the audio.
Okay.
Yeah, it just looks like a decent-sized deer that would be awesome
In the hallway?
in my fridge.
So it goes up and walks around the balcony. Right? Out the window he goes.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So yeah, man, that's what happened. Pastors at Grace Sturgis encountered the buck inside the church's auditorium on Monday before it leapt through a window and back out into the wild. The video, which was posted on Facebook and I stole, shows the buck wandering around the church. Pastors Amanda and Luke Eicher and Justin Wicke erected barricades in the hallway to try to keep the animal from the rest of the church. At one point, it climbed the stairs, which you saw, into the balcony. Quote was, "I was just shocked in how high that he could jump. It was amazing how big this animal was." The buck didn't appear to have any gunshot wounds, but it was bleeding from what appeared to be cuts from the glass. Besides the broken window, the only other damage was blood on the carpet. So, all right, back out into the wild, and you'll probably be harvested by, that's a 10-point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 point, 8 point.
If I was looking through a scope, I'd say an 8. Just
I don't
picture in a
count.
scope.
I don't count those two in the middle. They're fixing to be. They're fixing to be antlers. They're not quite.
See, like there's some states where like the tines, they call them tines, I guess. You have to be at like, it's like they have to be a certain diameter to be counted as a point. And I'm like thinking to
And
myself,
how do you
it's
tell that from 100 yards?
like 300 yards away, I'm about to take a deer down through a field, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, okay, well that looks, it makes no sense. Like in Pennsylvania, they got a rule where the antler spread has to be so far apart. I'm like, how the hell do you measure that shit?
So what do? You fucking shoot it and it's dead, and you measure it and you're like, damn, I'm an inch off.
No.
What do you? You can't set it back.
No, it make none of some laws make no sense. None of them make no sense.
Hey, taxation is theft.
Ooh, really?
Where's it? Oh, there it is.
He said, "Oh, really? Okay,
Got it. You've got this on standby. That's awesome. So there's a fighter called the unvaxxed assassin or the anti-vax assassin. Did you hear this story at all?
I have not. No.
This showed up on my timeline, and then I tried to revisit it. Just I saw it at work. I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit that back when I get home from work, and I couldn't find it, so I had to Google stuff. So it's a Russian, and I've got a series of Russian stories here. Akmal Koshev, age 27, has been detained in Guam for allegedly choking and stabbing his doctor. What did he stab him with? I don't know. Let's read further. He stabbed him with an animal bone that was left over from a meal. Oh, we got to dive a little bit deeper into this fucking story. What number is that? That is number 10. Got to click on number 10 here. The 44-year-old victim is a radiologist, had lived in Guam for over a decade. Koshev was born in Uzbekistan, is reportedly married with a baby son. He was a known anti-vaxxer and even ran a social media campaign against vaccines, claiming the coof spray is not working, urging people to not do it and to take their mask off. He retained the doctor as a client, and the pair had been having dinner. They argued over the coof spray, and a fight ensued. So the fighter, known as AK, telling Dr. Rabadi, "I don't trust you anymore." Local reports in Guam say that the radiologist was found laying in a pool of his own blood. When police arrived, a witness said to the officer, "Sir, it's me, I killed him." Dude stabbed him with an animal bone. Whatever they were eating, he stabbed him with the bone. So Kolchev had studied at St. Petersburg State University of civil aviation and subsequently held several jobs in the city, working in the aviation field. He had worked as a trainer in a gym before being fired for threatening customers. That sucks, dude. He had anger issues. Authorities in Guam have charged him with aggravated murder and assault, use of a deadly weapon. So the animal bone was a deadly weapon. So if an animal bone is a deadly weapon, a skateboard surely is. Yeah, that pen in your hand is definitely a deadly weapon. Medical colleagues said that Dr. Rabadi, quote, will be sorely missed. His talents were undeniable and impeccable.
He's a radiologist.
As a radiologist. Okay. So the next statement, MMA fighter J.J. Ambrose said that Koschev was such a great person until he wasn't. So that's...
No, I mean, it's kind of like that. You get that urge to just stab someone with a chicken bone.
I've never had that urge or any bone.
Me either. I'm not gonna be like, oh, this chicken bone looks good in this dude's throat.
I've wanted to kick people's ass, but
never stab a dude.
No,
with a chicken bone or a T-bone steak.
Which is a more substantial bone.
Or that little round bone in your hand.
I mean, have you ever wanted to kick someone's ass and just be like so fucking pissed off? You're like, oh, I just want to fucking punch you in the throat, and then you don't. And then everything kind of goes their own way, and then you feel better for not acting on your yeah. That's kind of more liberating than going, fuck yeah, I'm going to stab you in the fucking throat.
The chicken bone.
Chicken bone.
Chicken bone, but I'm just thinking like prison thoughts, like I've heard of some crazy stories, so.
So Putin, what the hell did President Bush called him? Pooty Poot?
Pooty Poot.
Pooty Poot. Vladimir Putin. Here's my Russian story for tonight. Russia destroyed one of its own satellites in low Earth orbit on Monday. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, that's bad juju. Don't do it.
Okay, I just read a story a couple of weeks ago. It was probably 2 weeks ago where China had destroyed one of its satellites and had just littered low Earth with a bunch of debris. And there was like an investigation and, strongly worded memos were issued. And then Russia actually did it. So they took out one of their own satellites on Monday, creating thousands of pieces of space junk. I would argue that it's probably more than that. In response, the astronauts living in the International Space Station were put at risk. The Russian Space Agency Roscosmos issued a tweet on Monday saying that 7 people on the ISS, 4 NASA astronauts, 1 European astronaut, and 2 Russian cosmonauts were forced to shelter in a docked spacecraft because of the debris. That's like their rescue capsule. When shit's going down, they get into that. It's like a tornado happens, you get in the shelter. They got in the shelter.
That's a space escape pod at that point. Yeah.
U.S. Space Command and the U.S. State Department later confirmed that a Russian anti-missile test created the debris. U.S. Spacecom is tracking the debris, and if you go to usspacecom.com, I think .com or .gov, they are tracking the debris, and it estimates that it will be in orbit for years, potentially decades, posing a significant risk to the crew of the ISS and other human spaceflight activities, as well as multiple countries' satellites.
You know what it's called? It's called Kessler syndrome.
Kessler syndrome. Explain that.
It's pretty much where there's so much space debris.
Have you seen the map? Have you seen the map of all the space crap that's up there? Holy shit!
Yeah, but the idea behind it is like you'll have like they made a movie kind of about it, like Gravity. Sandra Bullock was in it. I think Dave what's his name? George Clooney was in it too. But what will happen is you have a cascading effect where everything just starts ripping itself apart, and now you have this just massive debris field around the planet, and now you can't leave Earth. You can't leave, right? Really, have you seen that map of space debris that's up there? It's like, how could you possibly launch a rocket to do anything? And they keep on, Elon Musk keeps on launching these fucking tethered satellites. Not tethered. They're not tethered. But man, Gravity. The movie is Gravity. I was going to look it up. Thank you, Bob. Gravity was the name of the movie. Yes, that's the name of it. But that's actually like, I think a NASA scientist, that's it's Kessler syndrome or, oh God, let me pull the wiki up. Hold on.
Kessler's? Kess?
Kessler syndrome or Kessler effect or.
Hey, Bob, I've watched Gravity. The second time you watch Gravity, it kind of makes more sense. But yeah, It was a POS. It really was.
It was a shitty ass movie. There's no way in hell that she could have done what she did.
It's cool. It's a cool concept. So you have to separate yourself from reality and just be in the moment of the movie, and it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at all in real life. So what about Kessler?
No, he's a nasty.
It's retarded.
Let's see if I could do this real quick. Switch it over. That's. I don't know if you can see my camera or not. It's up there. That's what that low.
I've got it up now.
Is.
That's space debris.
That's just everything. That's what's it say? Image made of models used to track debris. That's just debris. Just random shit just floating around in space at that point.
Damn.
That's crazy at that point.
That's nuts, man. That's so much crap.
Low Earth orbit. Like you get the one where it's like way out there kind of shit. It's even more crazier than that. But
that's great.
Yeah.
So just blowing up a satellite. China did it. Russia did it. And at first, Putin was like, "No, we did nothing."
Of course.
But then all the evidence came out, and he's like, "Meh." Now he's not saying anything. So when you go to the store or you go to a drive-thru, let's say you go to Fricker's Chicken. I don't know what you have over where you're at. Bojangles. I would like. Is that a chicken place?
It's a chicken place. It's the best place in South Carolina to get chicken next to Popeyes.
Great. So you go to Bojangles and you say, I would like 4 chicken thighs, and I would like a side of cocaine. I mean, a side of onion rings.
This sounds like a Florida story. All right.
No, this is actually over in the UK. British authorities busted a truck driver with more than 900 pounds of cocaine hidden inside a shipment of frozen onion rings. Border Force officers stopped the shipment on Thursday in a maritime zone between France and the UK. The 921-pound load had a street value of more than $44 million. Peter Perzanowski, a 30-year-old man from Poland, is now facing charges of smuggling these Class A drugs. The $44 million bust comes on the heels of other recent blows to drug trafficking rings in Europe. Portuguese police took 5 tons. That's 20,000 pounds of cocaine off of a yacht in the Atlantic Ocean last month. U.S. and European law enforcement officials have dismantled a massive darknet drug trafficking network in October, resulting in the arrest of more than 150 people and the seizure of hundreds of pounds of various drugs. Dude, that's so much coke.
Man, that'd be a hell of a party. That's all I gotta say.
You want fries with that?
I mean, a burger and a 8-ball, please.
You want Coke with that?
Yeah, take the large Coke.
So, have you ever been? You don't drive, so this is a really weird conversation to have with you. But if you want to buy a car, you can go to a dealer. You can go to like CarMax, which they sell used cars at pretty reasonable prices, and they'll buy your car and things like that. Have you heard of Carvana?
Yes. I got a bunch of friends that have actually shopped through it, and they were actually kind of pleased about it.
I've heard nothing but great stuff. When I was shopping for my latest new car, to me, I went to Carvana, but that's like you shop online and then they deliver it to you personally. You drive it, for a week, and then you decide to either sign the papers or not. So Carvana, which is a Texas company, is in a bunch of hot water. The fast-growing online used car dealer Carvana is under investigation a lot. And if you look, and after I read the story, I'm looking at the Better Business Bureau and stuff, and like, there's a lot of investigations on this company. And I'm not saying don't shop at Carvana. Just make sure you got your ducks in a row before you actually sign the papers. The fast-growing online car dealer Carvana is under investigation by Texas regulators after selling vehicles some of his customers are saying they cannot legally drive. Dozens of Carvana customers have filed complaints with the state for months-long delays in getting their vehicles title and registration. So these folks are like buying a car and making payments on this car, but they're not getting like the title or the registration.
Government.
From the company. Stuck with expired and a lot of times out-of-state temporary tags, Carvana customers told the news agency that they were worried about being ticketed or towed. A Carvana spokesperson told the news agency that they are firmly committed to continuous improvement, but they didn't answer specific questions on the delay of the appropriate paperwork. Since 2019, according to state documents, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has cited Carvana with more than 30 violations, along with issuing more than $10,000 in fines for violating state registration laws. Similar paperwork issues have been reported in all other states. So whoever Carvana does business with, they've got a lot of complaints. There's been people that have been without the proper registration for over a year. I was going to drag this out because this is like a 2-page stories, like heartbreak stories of I wanted to buy my car, my wife this Corvette or this Camaro or whatever, and we couldn't get the right registration. They go back to the company and say, "Hey, you sent us the wrong stuff," and then they're like, "Oh, my bad," and then they send it back to them, and then it was the wrong VIN number. Something was wrong in all the paperwork. It's like they're working through S1 to work with Carvana.
Yeah, that sounds like S1.
The news team spoke to a dozen Texas car owners that said that they bought the car from Carvana in the past year, and they can definitely not legally drive it. They are stuck with expired temporary tags that they waited for more than a year for Carvana to file. I mean, the law here in Texas is if you buy a used car, you have 45 days to get your tags. A brand new car has 30 days. When you buy a car, you should have your tags within 30 days. If you buy a used car, it's 45 days. So I don't know, man. I hope Carvana, because it just looks like you're driving. When you drive through Dallas, there's a bunch of Carvana towers with cars in them, and that's where it's like a vending machine for cars.
So if they were advertising, you used to be able to go up with this weird coin and go beep and get your car out of it. And
you just swipe your credit card and there it is.
Little storage areas around here that are Carvana, and they just store the cars, and that's what's for sale here.
So Sin says, I drove my truck for 2.5 years, expired, never stopped me. It's not going to stop you from driving, but I guess these are law-abiding, conscientious drivers.
1 in 5 people in Virginia drive on a suspended license.
I think I would feel. I think my conscience would get my conscience would get the best of me.
That's like a weird fact about Virginia. 1 in 5 drivers in Virginia are driving on a suspended license. That's the last time I looked it up.
The first time that I got arrested was I bought. Oh my gosh, this is such a long time ago. I just graduated high school. Of course, I knew everything, so I moved out of the house. I didn't have a car, but I bought a car. It was a 1976 AMC Pacer from a friend of mine. I couldn't afford to, and this is in Chicago, I couldn't afford the registration for it, so I forged it. And of course, I didn't have insurance for it. What I did is I took one of the old registrations and I put white out over the like numbers and shit, and I weathered it, and I forged it. I completely forged it, and I got fucking pulled over for like, you didn't turn on your turn signal or one of those things. I turned left when I shouldn't have turned left, and they're like, oh, I need to see your license and registration. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have, of course, the registration for the car, and they're just like, can you step out of the car, please? I'm like, okay, excuse me, I'm going to climb out the window because my door didn't open. It was a 76 Pacer. And I spent the night in jail. That was a bad day.
Ooh, you're lucky.
$135. A night in jail plus $135. Yeah, that was it.
They got you on all kinds of forgery charges these days, man. Like you forged a government document and stuff.
I left. I never recovered my vehicle. I went there. I got my shit out of the car and I left it there because it was like $300 to pay the impound fees and all that other shit. I just got my crap out of the car and I left. And that's when I joined the Army.
That's funny. I've abandoned quite a few vehicles in my life. It's just like, it's not worth it at this point. I can take it.
God, I was such a stupid kid, man. Fuck. I had no knowledge. So, hey, we're gonna kill the show now. It's 5 minutes to 9. Thank you all for being here. But I just wanted to share with you. Oh my gosh, where is this? This is On Hold Music. On Hold Music. It has a history, so y'all can hear that. So the practice of playing music to the callers on hold was created by a factory owner who discovered a loose wire in his factory's phone, and it made the building a giant receiver. The broadcast from a close radio station resonated and transmitted through the wire and played when all the calls were put on hold. So there is a reason for on hold music, and that is why.
I've had field wire do that to me in foreign countries, picking up like a random radio station.
Like a random AM signal.
It's just a random signal. It's just because of the wire is just the perfect length at the right position is acting like an antenna at that point.
That's pretty awesome. So hey man, we got 4 shows a week. On Monday we got the Monday edition with Ice and Flash. Whenever Flash decides to show back up again, Pop Culture Warrior is going to be with CQ and Radar, and Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. On Thursday and Friday nights is Friday Night Freedom with KOZ and Pooky. Please tell me that you read the email about upcoming shows.
Did I? Hold on, give me a second. I did. I have it pulled up here somewhere.
I completely neglected my housekeeping
duties. You neglected your duties.
No, I did.
On the 22nd of November, Monday, coming up, we got Kurt Balash. Army veteran Kurt Balash will be hanging out with ICE on the Monday edition to not only talk about his veteran-owned business where he's making handcraft wooden furniture and decor, but to talk about how he teaches other veterans woodworking as a form of therapy as PTSD, which is actually pretty cool, actually. And then on the 6th of December, that's a bit off, but still, Monday, you got Cody Cross. He's an Air Force veteran. We'll be hanging out with ICE to talk about Fallen Hero Network and how he uses his trucking company to help other veterans and first responders organizations across the country. And that's the point.
Thank you very much. I apologize for failing on my duties.
No.
All right, everybody. I have that was my sign off, which was the on hold music history. You got any closing comments?
I don't know if I said this the last time or not, but I'll say it again. When the meteorite hit Earth that killed all the dinosaurs off.
Yeah.
That's Earth's history of killing multiple birds with one stone.
Oh.
That's the most birds killed with one stone. Just the side thought.
So we need to up our game. Okay, we got this. All right, everybody, thank you very much for hanging out with us. This is KOZ and Pooky. We're signing off. And hey, if you haven't liked U.S. Army WTF Moments or WTF Nation Radio, go ahead and just hit that like button and hit the subscribe button on the YouTubes and stuff. And we really appreciate you. So I guess today is Friday. We'll see you Monday. We're out.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Wear a condom? We're in Fayetteville. No one gets STDs here.
The voice of U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine?
Radio.